Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new then welcome to my channel. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Become part of the fam. So in the UK there are two options. You can either have weight loss surgery on the NHS or you can go private. There are a lot of criteria to have weight loss surgery on the NHS, and also unfortunately there is a huge wait list, which is also delayed massively because of COVID. So I opted to go privately. There are options to finance the surgery if that's what you want to do, or you could get it done through certain insurances. So my first step to choosing to have surgery was to find a company that I trusted and was willing to do the surgery for me. So I looked at two companies. One of them was called Tonic and the other one was called Ramsay Healthcare. And both of those unfortunately didn't operate on BMIs over 45, which for me unfortunately was just too low. And once I'd researched those, I became very disheartened because I thought that all companies were going to be the same. They're not going to operate on people with a BMI over 45 because there's too many health risks involved. Eventually someone suggested a company to me that operated on people up to a BMI of 100. And the company that they suggested to me was Streamline Surgical. And I felt like someone had thrown me a lifeline. I felt like, yes, there is a company out there that will operate on me. So I reached out super fast, and within 2 days I had my consultation with the surgeon, and I left that consultation, which was held by Zoom because of COVID, knowing that I was going to have surgery, feeling a lot more positive and a lot happier. I was given the option of a gastric sleeve or a gastric bypass, but my surgeon leant more on the way of a gastric sleeve, which I happen to agree with. And the reason that I chose to go with a gastric sleeve over a gastric bypass was mostly because of my surgeon's recommendation, and his words were that it tended to fit more around a younger lifestyle. Also, it gave me the option of converting it to a bypass in the future if I was to gain weight again or if my weight loss was to stall. So I chose the gastric sleeve. So the way that I can explain a gastric sleeve is that they take away approximately 75 to 85% of your stomach, and it forms a small tube shape. This reduces the amount of food that you can eat dramatically, so you really have to focus on the type of foods that you eat after surgery. Once I had decided on my surgery, I then had to wait for my surgery date, which thankfully came around super quickly. 2 weeks before my surgery, I had to start what's known as a liver reduction diet. Every surgery is different and every person is different, so some people do it for longer than 2 weeks. The liver reduction diet that I was on consisted of drinking 2 litres of milk a day and eating nothing but 1 litre of jelly a day. I was also allowed to drink a small salty drink such as Marmite or Bovril. And although that sounds disgusting, and believe you me, I definitely thought it was disgusting at the start, it is like heaven when you've been drinking milk and eating jelly all day. I happened to lose about 9 kilos in those 2 weeks. Although the aim of the liver reduction diet is not for you to lose weight, it's to shrink the size of your liver. And the reason that we go on a liver reduction diet prior to surgery is because our livers are inflamed with fatty tissues from our bad eating habits, and the surgeon needs to move your liver out of the way in order to reach your stomach safely. It reduces the risk of any complications to yourself and makes the surgeon's job a lot easier. I was told that if I did not shrink my liver adequately enough, then they would have to open me up fully. The majority of weight loss surgeries are done laparoscopically nowadays. I have 6 incisions across my abdomen that range from 1 centimetre to about 1 inch. And it varies. Some people have 5 incisions, some people have 6 or 7 incisions, and they all vary in size and the amount that you have. So during my liver reduction diet, I had to attend my hospital that I was having my surgery at to attend a pre-op appointment. appointment. During my pre-op appointment, they drew some bloods to run some tests on to make sure that I was healthy. They also did an MRSA swab. They ran an ECG on me as well. And 2 days before my operation, I had to go back to the hospital to have another blood test and to have a COVID test. Once it came the time for my surgery, I was not allowed to eat or drink anything the night before, and I was to arrive at the hospital at about 10:30. I unfortunately was not allowed to have any visitors with me due to COVID, which at the time was very daunting. I was petrified of having to sit and wait for surgery on my own. But having got through it and having had the surgery and the whole process of being in hospital all by myself, I feel like I came through the other side of it so much stronger for it. So the operation lasted about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I knew that my stomach was going to be greatly reduced, but I was shocked by how much it was reduced. They gave me a little teeny tiny cup that was literally about 5 ml of water, and I couldn't finish it. I was literally taking the tiniest of sips. They pump you full of loads and loads of medication, so that took up a lot of my stomach space, so I didn't want to drink water or eat anything. The next day after my surgery, for breakfast, I was allowed to have a half of a Weetabix with lots and lots of milk, but I don't think I even managed a spoonful. For lunch that day, I was allowed a chicken soup, but again, I think I maybe managed 2 or 3 mouthfuls. I just did not want to eat anything. I felt like my stomach was full the entire time, and I just didn't want to risk eating too much and being sick. I was discharged after 2 nights in hospital, and after surgery you are on a liquid only diet for 1 to 2 weeks. You can have soups and yogurt and things like that. My first meal after coming home was tomato soup. I struggled so much with that. I made up a portion of 50 grams of soup, or 50 ml of soup, and didn't even manage half of that. And to people with a normal sized stomach, that is surprising. Like, how can you only eat 25 ml of soup? But honestly, when I tell you that I was full up, I don't think there was any room for anything else in there. They recommend eating 6 small meals a day at the beginning because you're supposed to get your calories in and your protein and all your other nutrients in, but there's no way you're going to eat a full-size meal. Once you've completed the liquid stage, you then move on to a puree stage for a further 1 to 2 weeks, which I found very tough because of the texture of food. I didn't like puree food, and I really struggled with that one. After you've completed the puree stage, you move on to soft or fork mashable foods. And the thing that I found strange during this one was you are also allowed to eat crackers. Everybody's different, so please follow the guidance of your dietitian and your team. But I was so thankful to be able to eat crackers, because when you've been on milk for 2 weeks and then liquids for 2 weeks and then purees, to finally have that bit of crunch, it's amazing to finally be able to have something to crunch. And once you've done that for the 1 to 2 weeks, you then move on to normal foods. Everybody is different on the foods that they can and can't tolerate post-surgery. They often suggest not having bread but having toast instead because it can get stuck. Some people can't manage to eat red meat anymore, and they also suggest not having pasta and rice. My guidance from my dietitian was to have 60 to 80 grams of protein a day. This includes things like chicken, eggs, tuna, or even protein shakes. I drink 1 protein shake a day that has 50 grams in because I was really struggling to get my protein in for the day. Having the right amount of protein per day can help with weight loss. I think that that's probably where I went a little bit wrong immediately after surgery and didn't get my protein in. Although I lost weight very, very quickly, everybody was expecting me to lose a little bit quicker than I actually did. I will talk about how much I actually lost in another video because I want to go a little bit more into detail about how I lost it and when I gained and my journey with that. So my surgeon suggested that post-surgery, within the next 12 months, I will lose approximately 10 stone. I am well on my way to reaching that goal, and I am 4 months post-op. I have a follow-up appointment with my dietitian every 4 to 6 weeks, and I have a nurse on call should I need her at any point. I also had a follow-up appointment with my surgeon at 6 weeks post-op, and I now speak to him next on my 1-year anniversary of surgery, unless there are any complications, which so far there have not been. They recommend that I slowly increase the amount of food that I can manage. Currently I can manage approximately half of a chicken breast, but they recommend by about 6 to 12 months post-op that I will be able to eat a side plate's worth of food. Once I reach that, my stomach won't expand much further. I also wanted to talk about my mistakes post-op, because everybody makes mistakes, nobody is perfect, we're all human. One of my biggest mistakes was ignoring the food stages at the beginning. I was convinced that I didn't need to follow these food stages, that it was pointless, and I chose to eat scrambled eggs less than a week after my surgery. And the reason that we follow food stages is because our stomach is inflamed following surgery, and they're worried about food potentially getting stuck in the staple line of your stomach and causing an infection. Thankfully that didn't happen to me, but I did experience what's known as dumping syndrome. Dumping syndrome is where food moves too quickly from your stomach to your intestine and often results in sweats, hot flushes, and sometimes even vomiting. Unfortunately, as a result of eating the scrambled egg, I did end up bringing it all back up again, so I definitely learned that lesson the hard way, but it's definitely a lesson that you need to learn, and fast. Another mistake that I made was eating too quickly. This is quite a common mistake that people make after surgery. They recommend a rule of 20-20-20. So you eat a mouthful the size of a 20p piece, you chew 20 times, and you wait 20 seconds between each mouthful from the point of swallowing. And it's a very, very hard rule to adapt to when you are used to just guzzling your food down. Another mistake that I made was not eating the proper foods. Once I was allowed to eat normal foods, I think I went a little bit crazy and just started eating whatever I wanted, which kind of made the surgery a little bit redundant. I have reined myself in quite considerably since then, and I am back on track. I'm not perfect. I still allow myself to have the odd treat now and again. I am still human after all. So following my surgery, my health has considerably improved. I'm a long way away from my goal weight, but I have already noticed considerable improvements in my health. I'm a long way from being healthy, but I'm definitely getting a little bit better, which was my main goal for having the surgery. So I think I'm going to wrap this video up here, guys. If you have any questions about anything, please leave them in the comment box below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.